Hello there and welcome back to Satisfactory, yes. We're back on Satisfactory once again, going to be continuing our single player playthrough, yes. Okay, so, if you want to last time, we had gotten from this point on here, down at the bottom of this hill. We started down here to rebuild our train line. We got the bypass finished, by the way, which is very nice. But yeah, this goes right here to collect this bauxite because, as I've said before, collecting bauxite, much like sulfur, uranium, heck, even deuterium, I think at this point as well, and a lot of others that are very, very rare. You know, that you definitely want to try and collect all that you can, as well. So. We got that all hooked up as well, and then we built this mega bridge going across the swamp biome. So this bridge is the bypass through the swamp biome that is going to be servicing these 4 factories that we're going to build down here, which is going to be the modular frames, the heavy modular frames, the fused modular frames, and the pressure conversion cubes. And no, I did not just almost forget what they were. Yeah, I was just like, what are those last ones called? Come on. Come on, brain, work. But yeah, we built this massive bridge. This is built out of a blueprint as well. So you got each of the blueprint sections plus this little section in here, and then blueprints all the way down here. So that way it made it very quick and easy. We were able to get this done. And we've got this all the way connected to this other side, and this is called a bypass for a reason, because it goes from one side to the other of the entire biome. Which, there's a very specific reason we did this way, so that the factories, because there's going to be 4 factories in here, they're going to be collecting items from other factories from different sides of the map, essentially. So they're going to be collecting items from this side of the map, for instance. We didn't want them to have to travel all the way up to our quickwire factory, past the quickwire factory, past that factory, all the way down to that side of the map, or down to that side of the edge of the Titan Forest, down the hill, and then all the way over here. In order to service that, this is a much shorter route, so that's why we built a bypass. So that bypass can come from up here, and then they can get serviced with the items that they need much, much faster. You know, because this is train world. We want trains for everything, of course. Yep, and you keep heading up here, then this goes into this little bit of a hilled corner up into the desert. And then through this little pass and connects up here. It's the T-junctions with the train line that went to the screws. That way it's, you know, it's a decent ways away from the other intersection, so there's a bit of space right here. But basically that intersection is ultimately where 2 main lines connect. But yeah, see, if they had to go that way, like from the screw factory or from, you know, rod factory from over there, they'd have to go up that way and into the Titan Forest, through the Titan Forest, all the way out the other end of the Titan Forest, and then back down. So this way is just so much faster. But this is our main arterial line, so we definitely want to... Alright, that distracted me. It looked very weird. It's like, what the heck is that? But yeah, this is... that's how that works. So yeah, got a nice hill into a nice big old bridge. So, what is today's plan? Today's plan is to start on the modular frame factory. I mean, we're going to kind of start on all of them a little bit. This is because they're all going to be at the exact same height with the exact same grid, but we're going to have quite a bit of space in between each of them so that the trains are necessary. Because we can ultimately put all 4 of those factories right up next to each other, feed them from one factory to the next, and have no trains involved at all. That would actually work, and it would be sensible. But here on this channel, we're not sensible about anything. We build crazy, like, nonsensical things. much like this whole series and what this challenge is about, is every factory must be its own, except for certain factories. Certain factories do get exceptions, like the copper and wire factory, the copper and wire, the wire and cable factory. That one gets an exception, and the what was the other one we did? The other duel, because it feeds right into the next of it. The steel factory, making steel pipes and steel beams. Those are the only factories that really get an exception, because that's really what that's mainly used for. You don't want to have to take steel, or you don't want to have to, say, make steel at both a steel plate factory or a steel beam factory and a steel pipe factory, as well as making copper at a copper wire and a copper, and then bringing the wire to a cable factory, because that's a wire and cable factory right there. There's 2 twin towers. So, yep. There's a few factories do get exceptions, but most factories are going to be their own factories, and they must have trains bringing stuff in and taking stuff out. That is the rules. And the trains themselves are a minimum of 5 cars. You can go longer than 5 cars, but you can't have less than 5 cars. You have to have a 5-car train at the very minimum. That is the minimum length for the train. That way, it's a train. It's not like a semi truck with a trailer, essentially on a track. That way, it's an actual train, and whatnot. So, yeah. Thought I would refresh everybody on the rules of the series. Inspired by Factorio, believe it or not, Factorio has a scenario that's called Train World. If you put Train World on your world, for that scenario, or if you put that scenario on your world, you will get a world that has everything very, very far apart, so that it inspires the use of trains, because it's very long distance. So that's the whole point of this challenge. Is trains only. Belts cannot go in between factories, from long distances. That's just not allowed. So if you need more material, send more trains. Or if that's not going to work, then more cars, if at all possible. But anyway, let's get started on our rod factory. We have a rod factory. Let's get started on our modular frame factory, which is going to need rods. That's where that came from. Which is going to be at the very edge of the biome. I think I'm going to go ahead and build it here, roughly. I think most of these factories are going to be on the edge of the biome. They're going to be kind of split up. We're going to have to be very careful of these things, because these are not blow-upable, I don't think. I don't think they are, to be honest with you. Well, we can go test. I'm pretty sure... Oh, never mind. They are blow-upable. Okay. Well, we should be careful of them anyway, because they are nice. They glow at night, so we definitely want to try and build around those or whatnot. But yeah, where should we put the heavy modular frame factory? Or where should we put the frame factory? Modular frames. We definitely want to be on the edge, but we want to be at a level, because I want to try and keep all these factories at the same level. And we definitely want to bring them up above the land a little bit, because obviously this is an area that is a swamp biome. Definitely don't want swamp water in your factory. So you want to try and keep it. We just don't want to build at the bridge level. The bridge level's a bit too high, which that was the whole point, was to build it up that high so that it didn't have any issues with terrain. And actually, believe it or not, there's a spot of land that almost touches the bottom of the bridge. Right. And we're going to be building in these foundations right here, the steel foundations, or the grip metal, whatever you want to call them. Oh yeah, we were going to use the train, or we're going to use the bridge as a grid. I completely forgot about that. Alright, so if that's the case, then we're going to switch over to concrete, and we're going to bring some concrete pillars out this way. Heck, we could even distance everything if we wanted to, like perfectly. Like, say this is the middle of our factory, and we just bring this out. Let's say here, at this level. I don't know if it's going to be tall enough for a lot of these areas. We'll see, though. But yeah, let me, I guess, yeah, I'll put out some arms from the bridge here. To try and get a feel for... This is right in the middle, right? Pretty sure it is. Yeah. And if I try to put a train down... Oh, you guys want to know a secret? I think I've showed this off a few times, but... A little bit of secret with train stations. See, I can't put this train station down because it says surface is too uneven. But here's a little trick. If you hit the H key to lock the grid, to lock the hologram in place, I can place it. It'll put legs on it, but the legs won't reach the ground. Oh, it didn't even try to put legs on it. Okay, maybe it's not. It's too close or something. I don't know. But yeah, and it works the same with the blueprinter as well. If you're trying to put down a blueprinter and you can't put it down because of the surface is too uneven, like that, you just hit the H key. That one did try to put legs on it. Just nice little trick. But I was thinking about that because I was trying to make sure that this is going to work. Which we did test this before, but I wanted to make doubly sure. Yeah. Okay, we're perfectly lined up. Yeah, if you get slightly off, like, by a degree or so, the train stations don't recognize that degree of rotation within the game, so then what ends up happening is you end up with a train station that's slightly rotated on the foundation, slightly off. I don't know if that irritates you, but it irritates the crap out of me. Okay. Oh, it's because of these guys. Yeah, one of them. Ooh. Hello. I'm not making those frames yet, so it's good to have those. But yeah, then say like here we could start our factory, right? And then between those two legs, we could get a train coming off of that, or somewhere around there. We get a train coming off that with a little spiral. So yeah, we're gonna have spirals coming off of this bridge here to get the train down to the levels that we need it for each one of these. Yeah, I think probably build out this way because I don't want to build within these. I try to build around them. So. And like I said before, we're also going to try and build these as actual frames. We're going to try to copy, because I think that's kind of fun. Try and copy the frame itself of what type of frame it's making. So this one's going to be made out of, it's going to be simple frame, and it'll mostly have glass as the walls. Stuff like that. I guess what we should do is we should probably figure out how many factories we're going to need for modular frames, and then figure out how big it's going to be, and then we can work out from there, maybe. That might be a good course of action. So yeah, let me get some signs down, do some calculations, and yada yada yada, all the good stuff. Try and get modular frames in this build. Figure out what alternate recipe we're going to use and all that. Alrighty, so I did some calculations, and I don't have a The fuck? I don't have a platform yet, but I did get this. So we're going to be producing 100 modular frames per minute. We actually don't. We actually need around 60, but we're going to go extra with this one, and we're going to do 10 of these machines. And you're probably thinking, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Well, we're going to be using an alternate recipe today. We're going to be using the bolted frame. So the bolted frame. So what I did, it was like a couple episodes ago, was I went over to my screw factory and I put summer sloops in all of the machines, as well as added 2 extra constructors to this factory. What's this train? Oh, the train's inside the factory. And added 2 more constructors, which ended up being 78. So there's... The heck is that noise? There is 7,800 screws being produced here at max. That is 10 belts worth of screws. So 780 per belt, which is 2 machines. One's not summer slooped and one is. So if we get to 1,200, we can summer sloop it eventually. The rest of the way. But yeah, we're producing 7,800 screws. A lot of them screws are going towards our reinforced plate factory, which is good though. This is getting more than enough screws now, because it wasn't quite getting enough screws last time. But we've really ramped up production. It went from 4,000 something to 7,800. So yeah, quite a lot of screws. And then I was just like, okay, I'll use we're going to use the bolted frame recipe, since we've got all those extra screws now, and we're going to be using like I said, the bolted frame. Now we could use the other frame, which is the I don't remember the modular frame. Yeah, we're going to be using the bolted frame here, so 140 screws, 7.5. So it's basically this one, just better, essentially, producing 5 per minute. It does use more reinforced plates per minute than the original, but that freaking noise sounds nasty. But yeah, it's this one produces 3 per minute, but you end up having to use steel pipe instead, and I don't know how much steel pipe we have available. I need to go around to all of our factories and figure out exactly how much every one of them is using, with each of the markers, and then go from there. Eventually, one of these days, we'll do that, but not now. We won't do it now. But yeah, so bolted iron plate, gonna need 10 machines. The 10 machines we're making 10 per minute, which is basically it's overclocked to 200%, so that way we can cut down on machines. And this is not summer slooped, so we can summer sloop this in the future. I have a feeling, though, we're going to need to either change up, or we're going to need to add more machines to the reinforced plate factory. That's just my guess. That's what's going to need to happen. So anyway, let's go ahead and oh yeah, I wanted to see if this was going to be tall enough. I think we need to go slightly taller, actually. Like one more foundation taller. Be up here instead. That way, if any of these do end up getting mixed into the factory, you could be like right. They could be like right there, so at nighttime they'll glow. But yeah, so we're gonna leave that behind for now. And let's see if we can get a platform down. Now that we know we only need 10 assemblers, so each assembler, let's see, yeah, each assembler is 2 foundations long, 1 foundation wide. So if we build this big enough, how much would it take up if I did this? What I'm trying to do, though, is I am trying to get a cube going. Because we're going to have the same tall as wide, and, you know, it's going to be a cube, so it's going to be exactly a cube. And then our heavy modular frame factory is going to be even bigger. Even though it'll be the same size. The heavy modular frame factory would actually be a good kind of blueprint for a good kind of footprint for the size of this. Because I do not know roughly. Actually, I can find out. Heavy modular frames. Oh my gosh, 12 machines, 12 manufacturers at 6 per side. And yeah, if we go by manufacturer, then we can kind of get these the same size. You know what I mean? Okay, and see, manufacturers are 2x2, aren't they? Or are they 2x3? 2x3, we'll say. They take up roughly a 2x3 space. So if it's 2x3 and we have, because like I said, this is going to be doing heavy modular frames, we're going to be using the one without screws. Yeah, not the one with the rubber. Although this would make more, this one's more sensible. Because we're going to need to bring in concrete. Luckily the concrete's not too bad. And then we need to be producing. Let's see, if we were to do, say, have it produce like, I don't know, 5. Because how many do we need to produce? I have it here somewhere. Oh, we need to produce 12.5. Okay. So if we need to produce 12.5, that'd be like 3 machines, 4 machines. Okay, so the modular frame factory is going to be bigger. Alright. So let's say, even if we had, say put this down to 4. So we're producing 4 each machine. That'd be 4, 8, 12. So it'd be, again, 4 machines. Wait, is this? Oh, that's the wrong one. Whoops. I was looking at the wrong one. Okay, not quite that many. Heavy encased frame. There you are. 10. We need to produce... Wait, no. 20. We need to produce 20 per minute. Okay. So if that's the case, then yeah, we go up to... Have that second there. Put a 5 in. So we produce 5 per minute. 5, 10, 15, 20, so 4 machines. I mean, it doesn't really matter which way we go. It's like, even if we didn't have them overclocked, really, then it would be, it'd be 7 machines. They say 6 machines, so yeah. Yeah, I think we'll just go with what we got here. We're wasting time, you know. And we don't have a whole lot. But yeah, I think this is a pretty good height because most of the landmass out this way is going to be this tall. So as long as we don't go too far inland, we stay, you know, near the fringes of the edge, we can definitely make that work. Okay, and then I think what we're going to do as well is... You know what? Well, no, we don't want to. We don't want the train stations to dictate how big the factory is, because then the factory ends up being absolutely massive. The train stations themselves are going to have to sit outside the factory. It's going to have little rail yards, or it's going to have rail yards in order to. They'll still be on the same platform, but the factory itself will be on the platform, but the platform will be bigger than the factory. Obviously. If that makes sense. Okay. Alright, let's go back to what we're going to do then, is we were going to have these every other one, and we're going to have, because we need 10, well, that's the thing, is we can't, because we need 10, we can't really do a square, can we? Not necessarily. Well, let me figure this out and we'll get that going there. Alrighty then, after a few hours I finally got this done, so much like I was saying, I'm going to run my rails here, and we're going to connect this with the spiral as well. I don't exactly know where the spiral is going to be, probably right there will probably be the spiral, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, going back this way, we follow this, and we go over to our platform right here, which has our three train stations. We've got the 2 imports of the screws and the plates, and then the export of the frames, because you need reinforced plates to come in with your screws, because we're using the bolted iron plate recipe, and that will do that. I also got the signs right here as well. And what is this structure next to us? This structure is the modular frame, and I decided I'm going to use these windows to have the bars in them. I think it'll be okay. We'll just have these windows, just you know, to be a factory, of course. We could just have no windows, but I'd rather have windows anyway. But yeah, having those windows in there and whatnot, we need to place the other 3 walls. But yeah, I think this looks pretty good. And how I did this was basically, these are big metal pillars to kind of get the color, I guess. We could use regular metal, or the regular concrete pillars, but these ones don't really have as much of a texture as the concrete does, which actually, for me, kind of worked out better. But yeah, you just basically place one of these down like this, and then you go like this, you know, stretch it out to however big it's going to be. Stretch it out like that, and then stretch it out like that, and then stretch it out, and just, there you go. And there's the beginnings of a frame, essentially. Of the modular frame. If I say fused frame, I mean modular frame, of course. Unless I'm specifically talking about the fused modular frames. I keep getting mixed up by accident. That happens. And then what I did was I took a 4-meter foundation, put that there, and then a 2-meter on top of it. And these are actually coated concrete foundations, so they give a nice shine. And then using this right here, this is the color code that I went with the shiny, and then just painted these 2. You know, get a nice shine on it, and it's not perfect, but it's close enough for me. And that gives the little corner connection points like the modular frame has. So I actually got some modular frames in my inventory for this specific purpose. Let me put these on the ground. You can see it's got the little cubes in it. And yeah, it's just a rough, you know, just a little frame. And that's what I wanted to copy. And of course, obviously, the heavy modular frame is going to be a little more difficult, and then so on and so on. So, yeah, and we'll be working on that. But yeah, we got our modular frame factory here. This is a 10 by 10 square, by the way, in case you wanted to grab the exact same size. And then inside of here, we've got the big metal pillars. There's actually 17 of these, because I put the pillar right in the middle of a 4-meter, so we ended up with 17, and then obviously 17 going all the way up as well to get our perfect cube, and then and so on. So then with this, we take our foundation right here, put one in this corner. We're going to come over here and put one in this corner. Actually need to pull power from here probably. Let's just pull a random power pole. Oops. Nope, not that one. There, that one. Just put that right in the middle so I can connect to it. Just so I can connect to it, at least a little bit. Yeah, so... Sorry, I got distracted there for a minute. Yeah, and then we take this, and what we do is we take this. The reason I'm doing it on top of this is because these pillars are the exact height of these walls, as you can see here. So we don't want to double up on walls and pillars for no reason whatsoever, right? So we hit the H key right there, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we go 1, 2. Oops. 2. Oh no! Sometimes they bug out like that. They don't want to. Why? I do not know. It's like, stop it! And then it just works. Like, what the hell? But yeah, then you just drag that all the way across there. And you want to clip that in because when you get to this end, as you can see, it also clips in the exact same amount. So, and then a perfect, not perfect 10, it's going to be 9 actually. Because of where we've put the thing, but that's just so it fits in perfectly. Because if you try to put these up against the pillars, it won't. It'll end up overlapping quite a bit here. So you want it to overlap perfectly. But we're using these as well instead of the regular windows, just because I like having the most amount of window. What would be really awesome is if they just gave us a paint glass with no frame, no little beam piece on the edge of it, just a perfect glass wall, so that we can make our own windows. I guarantee that's not in 1.1, because that's not really, I don't know, that's not really a most wanted thing. Like what's getting put into 1.1 was kind of like a lot of the stuff they wanted to add, but also a lot of the stuff that people wanted, like the most requested like additions and features and stuff like that. So just, you know, stuff they've acquired over the years. That's what they wanted. Okay, so now that we've got the walls all placed down, we're going to go ahead and get started on the factory. Get started on placing the machines and stuff. So I decided to not overclock the machines. Let's see, where's the middle of this? 8. So there's 8, so that's the middle right there. Okay. I just wanted to know where the middle was, which it looks like I did put my signs right directly in the middle. So we've got our signs. I had to move the signs over here. But yeah, I decided not to overclock them. We're going to go with 20 machines per, rather than 10 machines. Just because, well, we've got the space, and plus 10 machines don't really work out in a rectangle per se, and tink. And 20 machines does, because we can do like 5. We do 4 lines of 5, so that's kind of my plan. So production, we're going to go modular frames. I hope we can fit these all in here. I might have to maneuver stuff around to try and get everything to fit. Oops. Why did it end up in there? Yeah, because the 5th one, or the line of 5 does need to go here, so. Yeah, so how would we do that? Yeah, let me get this set up where I'll line of machines, and then we'll figure it out from there. Okay, I think I've got my machine layout. So I decided to scrap the 20 because I couldn't fit them. I couldn't fit all 20 in here, not without some very, very compressed, like very tightly knit machines, unfortunately. I tried. Believe me, I did try, but that's okay. We'll do the 5 machines like we originally planned. We'll just overclock them. So we're going to do a bolted frame. Oh, whoops. And then we're going to overclock it. Put 2 overclockers in there to go to 10. The belting work for this is not going to work out very nicely because of all the screws. They need, what did I calculate? 280 screws per machine? Yeah, 280 screws per machine, which means only 2 machines. Yeah, if we take that, yeah, 280 times 2, that's 560 times 3 is 840, which is more than our belts can handle. So we're going to have to run multiple belts, or many belts. That's why I gave a 2-space foundation in the middle here, so that we can make that happen. But now, the one question is going to be, how do we power this? I think if we just power it by running a connector. Connect the 2, maybe? Yeah, because you don't want to put a wall connector on the Yeah, you don't want to put a wall connector on the other one. Yeah. Let's see. Power. Or, sorry, on the, when I was saying the other one, I meant the, you don't want to put it on the window. You do it there, though. I'll just run it across to here, to here, to here. I mean, what we can do, this is a possibility. This would probably be better. Let's do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here. Come on, go down the hole. Get in the hole. Then we could pull the power from the train station. So yeah, pull it. Let's pull the power. The power cable's like clipping through stuff down here doesn't really bother me, so I'm not too worried about it. So I'm just gonna... That noise is so friggin' nasty. I've been listening to it for hours. Yeah, I have no choice though, because it's part of the thing. Okay. We're gonna take a Mark II pole. We're gonna stick it right there. Let's grab a connection to this. I thought that was a Mark II pole. Well, let's make it Mark II. And delete that. And then reconnect it. Now, eventually, this train station is gonna have power from the main train line, so I'm not too worried about that. Move this. Go down here. Mark II pole or Mark II wall connector. Go right there. Put that back. Pull this right to there. And it should power up all of the machines inside, which it just did. Very nice. Okay, we can get rid of this connection here. And that pole that's right in the middle. Okay, now to work out all the logistics. The logistics of this thing is going to be insane. I know it's a pretty tall building for, you know, for not being, you know, needing the space, but... And it is true, we could have done 2 floors worth of assemblers. I guess if we really need to, we will add more assemblers at some point, but I'm not going to do it here. I think this is a pretty good layout, and this will be enough for most of the game. So, 100 modular frames per minute, which isn't too bad. Obviously, it's not as crazy as I'd like it to be, but we could always like summer sleep it, make it 20, or make it 200, I mean. You know, go really crazy with it, but we really don't need that, at least not right now. Maybe later. Let's go architecture, let's grab, should we use these, or should we use the actual, like, ceiling, or the actual roof pieces? Maybe the actual roof pieces. Use the actual ones. I have no power up here. Put one equally here. Then I can fly up. Okay. So we will need to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That should put us exactly that way. 2, 3, 4. See, this one's the middle. Yeah, you know what, I'll just... I was gonna try and, like, reverse it, but it's just like, yeah, you know what, I'll just drag it across, it's fine. Not as glamorous as I would like, but there's nothing I can really do without mods. And since I'm doing a completely vanilla playthrough, because, I have yet to experience Phase 5, and I want to do it with vanilla, and then next playthrough we can do mods. That will work, though. Okay, then everything's powered up without having crazy power poles everywhere. Did I? I did. So I'm pretty sure. I mean, they're all yellow, so it does make sense. Yep. Alright, cool. Cool. Now the fun part, getting the screws in here. So, logistics, we're gonna need splitters. How about the reinforced plates? 15 times 10 is 150, so one belt for frames, that'll be the easy one. So we do this, and then for the screws, we do 2 lines of screws. Well, it's going to be 2 lines of screws, but it's going to be many lines of screws. Oops. Oops. Doesn't belong there. This is going to be very interesting to get it all belted together. Could be very interesting. Especially when I do it incorrectly. Very interesting. Alright, so let's see what my plan is going to be. Oh, these are all off. Whoops. No! Okay, when I do that. But that's why I put the splitters in place first. Just like with my pipes, if you put your pipe junctions in first, put your splitters, mergers in first, then you can kind of visualize where your belts are going, and if things aren't working out or end up like that, you're not messing with a bunch of belts as well. Having to delete those. That freaking noise is gonna... Ugh. That noise is nasty. Okay, so how do we want to do this? Do we want to do this end being the high end or this end being the low end? Because we can go either... Can we go either way? No, we want this to be a high end. Okay, so... So first set of screws is going to be... I don't want them to be on the floor. I want you to be able to walk underneath everything. Okay, so first 2 belts of screws. Obviously, delete this. Oh, should we run the reinforced plates along the bottom instead? So we can absolutely do that. Then we don't have to worry about them being... Yeah. You know what? We'll do that. Like, to hell with it. The other thing I want to do too is I do want to do some lights on this. I would like some lights on the frame so you can see it from a distance at night. Okay. So we do this. It's going to be very interesting. Yeah, obviously the reinforced plates will go into all these machines here. Maybe we should get that hooked up to the reinforced plate factory, or reinforced plate thing. We'll get that connected and then we'll work on the screws. Alrighty, so now I've got that connected. From over here, we've got our reinforced iron plates. coming in into this spot, which then comes down this super long belt over to this spot here. And I've been having some weird bugs with this straight mode, and I don't know why, but I keep connecting to a belt, and then it'll do weird things sometimes. It's very strange. Who knows what? It's fine. It'll work. It must be something to do with these frame foundations. There must be some weird bugs going on there. But anyway, so we've got that connected. We need to work on screws next. However, unfortunately, we are out of time for this episode, so we'll continue this factory next time. But the basic idea would have been this, and then so like this. Oops. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's going to be a weird like end built here. Alright, so that was 3. Like this. And then this one is going to be 4. It's actually going to be like this. Because then we'll have 5 belts coming out of the train station rather than 6. 6 belts wouldn't really make sense to me. But 5 belts, because it's a 5-car train station, works perfectly. And then, yeah, so each belt is going to serve 2 machines. Then you have something like this. So not those are connected. And I've also been coming down here and then going with these, which I think I'm going to redo, actually. I think that'll work. Something like that. Let's see if that'll work. But yeah, unfortunately we are pretty much out of time for this episode, so we'll continue this next time, and hopefully next time we can get this factory actually operational, and then get the belts connected, and then get started on what do you call it? Get started on the then heavy modular frame, which we're actually missing a factory for the heavy modular frame, which is the encased industrial beams, which we still have yet a factory. We need to go and make those. That's steel and concrete, which is interesting that I completely forgot about that one. Yeah, something like that though. And we'll work with that next time, like I said. But anyway, with that though, like I said, that is going to be it for this episode of Satisfactory. So I do hope you enjoyed. Oh, and before you go, I would like to give a huge shout out and thank you to all of the investors you can see here. Seriously, thank you. You guys are awesome. It is much appreciated. And until next time, I guess it's a goodbye.